Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Inside Artesian Football here on WREP 15 Sports. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined as always by Artesian head coach Carter Whitson. The Artesians go to Mooresville last Friday night, and the Pioneers squeak out a last-second victory over the Artesians. We'll talk with the coach about that contest. We'll look ahead to their final game of the season coming up Friday night, senior night at home against Plainfield, and we'll talk about the sectional draw that came out as well on Sunday. Also, you travel to Mooresville last Friday night. We knew it was going to be a tough contest against the Pioneers, and it'll start off really well for you guys. You get a big stop defensively and then come out and take that opening drive, 55 yards, get in for a score.
Really, we talked about early in the year, that's exactly how you want to start a game. Defense goes out there and playing against a really good offense with, I think, one of the best players in our conference. Seeing those guys, they wanted the ball first, and then we go out there and get a good stop and run down and go through them pretty easy on that first drive. We're sitting there going, all right, let's go. Let's roll with this and see if we can keep that momentum going.
You were able to score on your first drive, and then it took until 5 minutes and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter of play until you guys were able to get it into the end zone again.
It was crazy. It was just a different kind of night for us. We always talk about turnovers and regardless of how well they played or what we felt like we were getting called or anything like that, if you don't take care of the ball, you're not going to win football games. So, we look back at the tape and we realize, all right, we didn't play our best game, and we turn it over, and it doesn't matter who you play, you're going to get beat when you do that.
The last 6 minutes of the game is, I think, what a lot of people, myself included, thought we would get through the entire game. There were a lot of scores, a lot of back and forth there, both potent offenses coming in, answering each other. They were just able to get the ball at the end and able to hit that big field goal.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of the whole game, regardless of anything that happened, you got to give that kid credit, the guts to kick that field goal, and he hit it square. They called a timeout first, so they kind of froze him first, and then I froze him next, and he comes back and still makes that. It was gutsy, and you got to give him all the credit he deserves for that. But yeah, the end of the game was kind of what I thought it was going to be like. We felt like we played pretty well offensively. We just didn't finish. I think we had close to 500 yards of offense. You don't have close to 500 yards offense and 21 points unless something goes wrong, and that's turnovers, and that's not finishing blocks, and that's just the little things like that. So, stuff to watch film and learn from, and see if we can get better this week and moving on to the playoffs.
So as you watch that and some of the takeaways from the contest, like you said, trying to finish, trying to limit some turnovers, some of that credit obviously to Mooresville and their team as well, but a lot of that stuff was kind of self-inflicted in the game.
Yeah, self-inflicted wounds is what we always talk about. But give them credit. They're bigger and stronger than they were last year, and they're having a good season. They beat Whiteland, they beat us, so they got a good. I think they'll win this week, and I think that means they'll share the conference. So good for those guys. They'll be playing well, getting healthy, going into the 4A tournament, and I think they'll have a good chance.
Martinsville, Mooresville hooking up and doing battle on Friday night. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from up at Mooresville High School between the Artesians and Pioneers.
Here's our first drive. Hit them with a little play-action shot to Matt Thomas. Matt started playing a little bit better. We're still getting healthier at wide receiver, but it was good to see him go make that play and us finishing the drive right there, going tempo with quarterback sneak. We just got in a good rhythm that first drive, and our big guys kind of took over. There's Griffey trying to make a play on a bad snap. He handles it, gets the ball a little sophomore who makes an unbelievable play, unbelievable effort play. He's got other guys blocking for him. Unfortunately, he doesn't take care of the ball, and that's really all that matters. Whether he was down or not, which he was, we don't want to put the decision in the referee's hands. We want to give the ball back to him so that way he doesn't have that decision. Fortunately for us, football gods come through and give us the ball the next play, so that's kind of what we thought, but we needed to finish that last drive and didn't. Here we go, Jacob Burkett's playing way outside, had a little different scheme we played for the wide receiver number 11 kid, and we thought that worked pretty well, held him to one catch, and that one catch was on a busted coverage, so our defensive plan was pretty good. We made one adjustment in the second half that we go back and look at with the time machine, and we wouldn't make that adjustment again because we played so well the first half. But here's Seth creating a turnover right there. We had 2 picks. We should have had 3 picks if they don't call another phantom call. But we tried to do our best to get the ball back from those guys. Unfortunately, we gave it back to them enough times and couldn't finish drives. A little speed option we run pretty good at. Speed option, it's it's another one of those plays that stands out in my mind. You know, Travis is pitching it, and then he's a blocker. And there were a few times where they went low on him. I wasn't really happy with it. Another big play right here. You know, Garrett Miles got back healthy. You know, came back from a concussion, got an interception on that receiver, which was great to see. Isaac Osborne ran hard all night, and so did Ty Cox. But I still told him on Saturday their overall grade as a running back group was a D- because they had 2 fumbles, and we can't do that. You can't win doing that. So there we are on defense, playing well up front. Again, we had a really good defensive night. Gave up a few big plays and a few mental errors that cost us points. You know, that one big play early in the game, we were right there to make the play, but don't quite finish it. Griffey running, getting good blocks from the O-linemen, wide receivers, still can continue to block better. You know, we get our guy on the first second, but then are we finishing him, or is that guy finishing harder than us? Look at this effort right here by Isaac, Griffey pushing the pile. Griffey doesn't mind getting in there and getting a dirty little block and playing hard, and that's just kind of the kid he is. Need everybody else doing that. Big play right here on a bubble. Again, we're trying to get the momentum and trying to put a whole drive together, and it's just hard. You know, they're a good defensive team, a lot better defensively than they were last year. And, you know, again, we turned it over too many times. You see a lot of these drives, and it's like, okay, those are good plays, those are good plays, those are good plays. Well, why didn't you score? And we just keep talking about it and turnovers and finishing drives like very early in the season last year for us, making it hard. Here's a goal line stand right here that our guys do a really good job of. You've seen that all year from us. You know, even when teams get down there, we don't have any give up in us. We win the game versus Greenwood because of it. We win the game versus Decatur because of it. So our guys, you know, they're going to fight until the very end. No matter what, wherever they have the ball in the field. Great shot right here. You know, late in the game, we see man-to-man, and we call a good play. Seth makes a great catch. Travis makes a great throw. Offensive line gave him protection. And here we go, going fast again. We were going as fast as they would let us with their chain guys and the officials. We were trying to go faster and faster and faster all night. But, you know, you got to adjust whenever you're playing at somebody else's place. Here's a little bubble right here, getting out into the flats, getting the ball to our playmakers. Another phantom flag you can see gets called back because they actually did correct it. But again, just kind of a misinterpretation of rules that you don't like to see affect kids and their results.
Let you go or drive you to the ground.
Getting in a 3-by-1 formation, running inside zone. You know, this is what we do. If you've seen us and you've seen our play call sheet, we're running inside zone about 60% of the game. And then we've got speed option off of it. We've got RPOs off of it. We've got pass game off of it. So whenever you see us going fast and doing what we do successfully, most of the time it's inside zone, just like this. Little wrinkle with Travis, letting him drive all the way in the end zone. I called him in before he fumbled it, but again, we can't put it in the officials' hands of whether it was a fumble or not. So, you know, you watch it, there's a lot of good things on there, just not enough. And there are a lot of negative things that we obviously don't show in the highlight film, but, you know, you walk out of there on a rivalry game and, you know, you think you play well and you don't. And it's kind of like playing on a par 4 and you get a 10. It's like, all right, we got to go to the next one, you know, and that's kind of what it was.
Able to battle the Pioneers there in that one. Like you said, couple of calls, a couple of instances during the contest where you had some spot issues maybe. You're going to get that. You have some flag calls. The last one was one they pulled back. There was one on a sideline on an interference call as well that was late in coming in. Those things obviously in a tight game on the road and something like that are huge. But like you said as well, you got to try to take it out of their hands if at all possible.
Yeah, and you know, we're never going to blame the loss on a ref or anything like that. So you got to take it into your own hands and make sure you're doing the right things. You just never want to see, you know, kids that bust their tails all year really have get influenced poorly by, you know, whoever's working the game.
You look at it now, so Mooresville gets the win. They've got the one loss still in the Mid-State Conference. Decatur as well. The two teams they're playing, they're probably going to win. So it's going to be, like you said, up to them to do something that's for you to be into the conference championship. But you have a final game of the season coming up. It's senior night on Friday against the Plainfield Quakers. And be a good opportunity to be able to honor the seniors, a huge senior class, something that we haven't had around here in a long time.
Yeah, it is. These guys have earned the honor of their senior night. Fortunately, I know we'll talk about it here in the future, but we know we have another home game coming up. So, it's kind of a tradition to honor your seniors on their last home game. Well, that's not quite what the deal is here, but we do want to, recognize those guys and their families that are with them that have, turned this program around. So, yeah, there's 23 football players that'll walk out, and it's a good group, and I'd take every one of them back next year. But they also know that, we weren't trying to win the M. We weren't trying to win the conference. We're not trying to win on senior night. We're trying to win a state championship. So we realize that it's just another game to get us better and get ready for the tournament.
Plainfield, the opponent coming in, it's a team that likes to run the football. They've got some young kids up and down. I know they've played a freshman quarterback at times as well. So what are we going to expect out of Plainfield coming up on Friday?
Yeah, they're going to run it right at you. They're playing a freshman quarterback still. I think the other kid is still out with an arm injury. They're a little bit beat up. They didn't get a great draw, they think, in the playoffs, playing Cathedral in that first round without a bye. But they're going to run it right at you, whoever the running back is. I know 13 got dinged up last game. I think he had a concussion. So we'll see if he's back. If he's not, they're going to have somebody else. Same deal when we played them last year. They were a little bit beat up. But he was the backup last year and had a great game. So, they're going to have guys. They're an extremely massive team. You look at their guys, you look at their offensive line and defensive line and linebackers, it's like, man, they're all tall, they're all big frame, they're just a big group of kids. So we'll have our hands full against them.
What are you guys looking to try to get out of that last game? But like we said, it's not like when you were in Oklahoma or in Texas where this is probably mattering something whether you're going to get to the playoffs or not. You're already playing, you already know who you're going to play. The Mid-State Conference isn't on the line, an undefeated season is on the line. Not a whole lot there. So what are you guys trying to get out of this last game?
It's probably unpopular to say, but we're trying to get out of it healthy. We want momentum going into the tournament, so you want to win. You want to win every game you play, but really we're trying to get better and get ready for the tournament. It's going to take 6 games for us to win it in a row, including this one. We won 6 games last year, so we can do it. We know we can. We got in that rhythm before. So we want to go into it. We want to play well. We want to take care of the ball. We want to tackle. We really want to get out healthy and get ready for that bye week and then Bloomington North.
So Plainfield, the opponent coming up on Friday night. Like Coach said, the bye week then after that is the sectional draw came out this past week. We'll be on fall break next week, so we'll talk a little bit about the contest coming up against Bloomington North. I know it's a little bit earlier going in. It's a 5-team sectional. You guys kind of get the break in the fact that you get the bye week, and it's going to have to be Franklin and Whiteland playing in the opener. But this is a tough sectional. When you look at it up and down, there's a lot of teams there that can compete for that sectional crown.
No doubt. And you look at, everybody thinks, oh, it's Whiteland who beat us. We need to be scared of them. Or Bloomington South, they've won a handful of sectional championships in a row. I don't think anybody wanted to play us. Franklin's a little bit beat up. I still think they'll give Whiteland a pretty good game. It's hard to beat somebody twice. And then Bloomington North, Bloomington North's been up and down, but they got a great win against New Albany, who's a good football team down south. So, their potential's out there. It really, to me, my wife told me what the draw was because I didn't care. I knew we had Plainfield, and I knew that someone would tell me where and when we were playing, and we'll figure that out after Plainfield.
So you'll get the bye week afterwards. As we look ahead, we study that stuff a little bit, and you see that you got Bloomington North at home. Basically an opportunity. If you can beat North, I know we're looking ahead, that depending on who comes out of that top half of the bracket, you could be playing for a sectional championship again back at Ciderwoods Field.
Yep, one game at a time. We know we got our first game in the playoffs at home, which we always like. We got a great crowd here, and they'll be chaotic as always. And then we'll see. Yeah, it could bounce either way. We could go to we could go to Bloomington South or play Whiteland here or Franklin here. So we'll see who wins that first one, and then we'll go take care of business and see what comes next.
All right, Coach, as always, we appreciate it, and we'll see you there on Friday on senior night.
All right, thanks.
That's Artesian head coach Carter Whitson here inside Artesian football as they will battle the Plainfield Quakers coming up on senior night, and then they've got the bye week. We will be off a week, and then the Artesians will come back following week after fall break to battle Bloomington North in round number 1 of sectional play. Coach, as always, I'd like to thank you for coming in and joining us. For the head coach Carter Whitson, I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Artesian football.
That's right.